Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. This is not an easy story to tell, and it is not meant to be comfortable, but it is meant to be honest, because some lives are brightest only when you understand how much darkness they carried. And tonight we pay tribute to Bob Weir by walking through the final shadowed chapter of his life, the years when his body was failing. His strength was thinning, and yet he still walked onto the stage and gave people joy while quietly carrying pain most never knew existed. Bob Weir did not die. Suddenly he faded slowly, deliberately, and with awareness, and that made his endurance all the more haunting. In the years before his death, his body became a daily negotiation. Decades of relentless touring left scars that never healed, joints worn down lungs, weakened energy, rationed carefully, illness crept in, quietly, cancer treatments, exhaustion complications that made simple movement an effort, and yet Bob never announced his suffering. He did not want the audience to grieve him while he was still alive. He believed that once pity enters the room, the music loses its power. So he chose silence, not because he wasn't hurting, but because he refused to let pain define the exchange between him and the crowd. Those closest to him saw the truth, the longer recovery times, the careful scheduling, the moments backstage where he sat alone, conserving breath, conserving strength, preparing himself like a soldier before battle. Every performance demanded more than the last, and he knew it. But still, he went out because stopping would have meant facing the fear that without the music there was nothing holding the pieces together. Bob Weir had built his entire life around sound routine, rhythm, and connection. And as his health declined, that structure became his lifeline. The stage was the only place where pain transformed into purpose, where weakness became focus, where suffering could be shared without explanation. He once suggested that music reorganized time, and near the end it reorganized his pain. Nights blurred together, but each show became a marker proof that he was still here, still capable of giving something meaningful, even when his body resisted him. Audiences noticed changes, the slower steps, the deeper breaths between songs, the way his eyes closed longer than before, not for drama but for grounding. And yet the moment the first chord rang out, something ancient awakened. The room still shifted the same way it always had, because Bob Weir was not performing strength. He was offering presence. And that presence was heavier, more fragile, and more powerful than ever before he leaned into imperfection. Let the cracks show. Let his voice carry age and strain instead of hiding it. And in doing so, he taught a final lesson that entertainment does not come from polish. It comes from truth behind the scenes. Suffering became routine, managed carefully, quietly. Medical appointments, physical limits, unspoken rules among his team about pacing and protection. Those who worked with him said he measured time differently. Near the end, not in years but in moments, left to stand under the lights again. He knew what was coming. He was not naive about his mortality, but he refused to let the end arrive without meaning. His final performances were not goodbyes spoken aloud, but they were heavy with understanding. Every note felt intentional, every silence carried weight. Fans sensed it, even if they didn't have words. Applause lingered longer. Cheers softened into gratitude because people could feel that something rare was happening. A man choosing to give joy while his body was asking him to rest. Bob Weir managed his suffering by refusing to dramatize it. He did not want to be remembered as brave or tragic. He wanted to be remembered as working, as playing, as contributing, until the very last moment. He believed retreat would magnify the pain while engagement would transform it, and so he kept engaging. He used music as therapy structure, ritual, and shield. When fear surfaced, he rehearsed when fatigue overwhelmed him. He simplified when pain arrived. He leaned on the community he had spent a lifetime building. Entertaining others was not distraction, it was survival. a way to metabolize fear into sound and isolation into communion. And when the end finally came, those closest to him understood that he had already given everything. There was no unfinished business, no unplayed note left inside him. Bob Weir's final years were dark, not because they lacked beauty, but because they demanded endurance. They required him to confront decline without surrender, and he did so quietly, without spectacle, without complaint. He showed the world that suffering does not have to make you disappear. It can deepen you. That joy offered from a place of pain carries more weight than joy offered from ease, and that legacy is as important as any song he ever played tonight. This tribute is not about mourning what was lost. It is about honoring what was given. A man who stood in pain and still chose connection, who faced the end and still chose to entertain, who turned suffering into service and left the stage only when there was nothing left to give. Bob Weir did not let the darkness silence him. He carried it with him, transformed it into music, and offered it back to the world. And as long as someone listens closely, as long as someone finds comfort in sound, when life hurts, his final gift remains, because even at the edge he proved the music still had work to do, and he did that work until the very end.